The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Assalamu alaikum. That's peace be unto you. Welcome to Liberated Sisters, recording live right here at Morris Media Studios in the beautiful Leimert Park District of Southern California. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad, your host, and today we bring to you Aviation in the Nation. We're going to talk to co-founder Sister Kai X, as well as participant member Brother Venson Muhammad, and this Aviation in the Nation is an educational exploration of the field of aviation. I'm talking airline pilots, flight attendants, and more. They're coming to Los Angeles. They will be here on November 9th. There's the schedule of events. Muhammad University of Islam is their host. And boy, there's a lot in store. So the two participants, the members, are going to let us know what's taking place very soon. Of course, we are going to hear hopefully from you online. We're going to have the Farrakhan Factor, and right now we're going to have the Justice Report. In today's Justice Report, right out of the Final Call newspaper, of course. And again, pretty soon, I'm working on it, everyone. I'm working on it. The Justice Report is my desire that it is a look at the black press news locally, nationally, and across the country, across the world, right? But right now, at this moment, we're still coming out of the Final Call newspaper. Raging Inferno, there's the cover. The Final Call, we were able to write about the really horrific fires that are still raging in Southern California. Some of them were started by electrical companies. PG&E in the Bay Area said it's likely that power lines for them caused two. One caused down here in Southern California, a car was being chased by police officers. According to news reports, that car crashed. Sparks started a fire there. We know that we had a fire over in the Getty Museum, the Getty Center area, Wilshire, the 405 freeway going into the Angeles forest. It's just a. At one point, there were about over 600 fires since in 2019. It's caused a lot of damage, deaths. And so we spoke to Student Minister Ismail Muhammad. He is the National Assistant to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We also spoke to Student Minister Abdul Sabur Muhammad. He is our local minister out of Oakland, Muhammad Mosque number 26B. We also spoke to Dr. Rizli Muhammad, director of Muhammad Forums. Now, Dr. Rizli, you won't find in that article because we went with more spiritual. And Dr. Rizli certainly handles that as well. But we spoke a lot about the drought and different things that I asked him. And so I didn't put those in this story because we talked a lot about the divine judgment from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and how God is using the forces of nature to humble America. And so I just, as we go on, before we get to the Farrakhan Factor, I want to highlight some more things in the Final Call because each issue really deserves a page-by-page read, a column-by-column read, and some great important things are happening in addition to what we are seeing, the minister's warning of watch the weather. So our great brother, champion, Reverend Willie Wilson, at Union Temple Baptist Church in Washington, D.C., has retired. But as the cover says, there's no retirement for a soldier. But Minister Farrakhan and Mother Khadijah, First Lady of the Nation of Islam, they were on hand to pay tribute to Reverend Wilson, along with many, many others. And I appreciate it. We can continue to show the cover, because this is the cover story, Raging Inferno. And within this cover, everyone, there's all this different news. I'm going to mention snapshot real quick. So Reverend Willie Wilson had a great celebration. Again, the cover story here, driven by high winds, fire, and distress. The West Coast has been plagued. Look, the fires, according to reports, were moving so fast, hurricane speed winds. They would go from 50 to 75 yards in 30 seconds or less. Some of them would come right up to the freeways of 405, as well as in the east here, San Bernardino, and they would stop. But the one down in one of the freeways in San Bernardino actually jumped the freeway. And so we've been seeing this over and over. But continuing with the Justice Report, is the NCAA play and get paid rule reform, or a way to avoid greater scrutiny and challenge? I'm just going to give you some headlines. Money, power, respect, and a major high court case. There's a $20 million lawsuit that's headed to the Supreme Court, and a loss could mean an erosion or loss of major rights as well. And that's from media guru Byron Allen, who is suing, Comcast. So that story is there. I want to keep mentioning again this final call, as well as many, many, many other past issues and inshallah issues to come, are jam-packed. A heart of service and fueled by purpose. One of our sisters in her sororities has been serving women and children, not just in Haiti, but in the country. That story is written by J.S., our sister Janiyah Adams. Oh my God, there's something going on with the Democratic presidential candidates. Leading Democratic presidential candidates missing from town hall hosted by ex-offenders. That's by our brother Michael Z. Muhammad. That's a story out of Philadelphia. There was something else. And this is the one. May Allah be pleased and thank you for the life and legacy, your service, Congressman John Conyers. When I was reading that, he was laid to rest in Detroit. He has recently made his transition. That story is in the Final Call, page 11 this week. You can read it online at finalcall.com, digital subscription. As we see the reparations movement increasing and making progress, and many activists talking about the joy that they have, that it's at least at the presidential candidates on their tables, right? It's being discussed in that way. They know it's a lot of work left to be done, but we cannot think about reparations without saying thank God for the work of Congressman John Conyers, who introduced H.R. 40. And so more about H.R. 40, which is commission to study reparations, among other things, right? How that mantle was picked up by Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee in Houston and others. Just Representative John Conyers Jr. has been laid to rest. So many like Reverend Michael Eric Dyson, of course, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and many, many more were there. So I'll stop it there and say this has been the Justice Report, finalcall.com, and now the Farrakhan Factor.
I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop you before the whole world goes up in flames. So he told me to tell you, I'll fight for my brothers. We can go to war. Fight for my
This
brother.
Farrakhan Factor, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan delivered a major address at the Nation of Islam's headquarters, Mosque Mariam. That was on July 21st this year, 2019. He spoke on a wide range of issues, including President Donald Trump's desire to run the United States as a king. Minister Farrakhan spoke about possible war with the Islamic Republic of Iran, and definitely guidance for Black America, in these perilous times. In this issue, we're talking about watch the weather. Here's Minister Farrakhan.
I've been telling you
Watch the weather. Every day the weather's getting worse and worse. The white meteorologist cannot tell you what the weather's going to be. But my teacher told me. Who's your teacher, Farrakhan? My teacher is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Without him and the great Mahdi, I wouldn't be here. But he told me there's two of us backing you up. Allah and myself. You belong to them. That is the truth. They're worried about the weather. The president knows something. He said he don't believe in climate control and that we can do something to stop this. Mr. President, you do have a point. If the scientists could cause this to stop, they would have done it. The scientists have a point, but the scientists don't create rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. Some of these chastisements are being guided. Did you hear what I said? Who got power to guide a storm? And it destroys what the guide says. The Mahdi is not just a guide for human beings. He's a guide for the forces of nature itself. So, America is surrounded with the judgment of God. Climate control is very important in the context of war. But there's no space on this earth that has received as much calamity from weather as the United States of America. Water glaciers are melting. Some of these glaciers are the size of some small states. When you see a water glacier, what you see on top is nothing compared to what is on the bottom. So when the top falls off, the bottom rises. And when the top begins to melt, the water rises. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, and the Holy Quran bears witness, that Allah would curtail this place on its sides. He said he wouldn't buy nothing on either coast. Because the coasts are going to be flooded. You heard it first here. Now watch the news. Bear witness that a messenger from God, a man taught by God, is telling you things that are and things to come. Heavy rain fell in Washington and flooded the White House. What did you say, Minister? Oh, you didn't hear? Not just the basement of the White House, but the lower basement. Levels down. What is God trying to get you to see, Mr. President? That he can touch you wherever you are. Allahu Akbar! The two earthquakes that hit California, 6.4 and 7.1 in an area in California where the Navy owns 100 million acres of land, a little more than that. And the earthquake left a fissure, a crack in the earth's surface that could be seen from space. That's a naval base where their nuclear stuff can't work now. They got to fix it.
They got to fix it. Wow, that's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Watch the weather. One of the many, many, many warnings and messages of guidance. Warning to President Trump. Prior warnings before that to whoever was in the seat of power for the United States and the world system, and guidance for Black America. So that's finalcall.com. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to Brother Jesse Muhammad of the Farrakhan Twitter Army, because that was the source for me for that video. So you all keep on posting, keep on sharing the great quality messages of Minister Farrakhan, because believe me, they help me a lot. So now we're going to change over to transition to Aviation in the Nation. We want you to give a great welcome to Sister Kai X, co-founder, as well as Brother Venson Muhammad, who is a member. Both of you, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Liberated Sisters.
Oh, wa alaikum salam. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for being here, Sister Kai. You made it happen so much today on short notice. You're a trooper. Thank you, soldier. I appreciate that.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
And we see you, Brother Venson. Assalamu alaikum again, sir. We're going to get Brother Venson's sound, but right now we're going to continue on because we see he is with us. Sister Kai, I want to start out by saying thank you all so much for bringing aviation to the nation, to Los Angeles. We're excited about that. As a parent, a proud MUI parent and educator,
Yes, ma'am.
But they tell me I'm an educator. But thank you so much. for coming out. Tell those who don't know what is Aviation in the Nation, first of all.
Okay. Praise be to Allah. Well, Aviation in the Nation is a educational exploration program. Mm-hmm. We travel throughout the United States of America and even through the electronic waves of the internet, because we've actually done workshops via online.
Wow.
For the Homeschool Network.
Yes.
So we travel and we introduce the youth of our nation and of urban areas into the wonderful field of aviation. They are exposed to pilots that look like them. They're exposed to flight attendants that look like them, airline mechanics that look like them, student pilots that look like them, that come from their neighborhoods who share the same struggle that some of them may have had.
Yeah.
So we, in a nutshell, we just expose the children to something that most of them have not had the ability to see from an an inside perspective.
Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. And I like to hear that there are many professions that you're highlighting, especially that, what is it called, the flight attendants? Because I don't know, is it me, Sister Kai, or has the standard in the industry gone down? I mean, like, many flights, they're mean. Now, there's just as many where they're very nice and high-spirited and helpful, but I mean, like, just the everyday little things that they would do to help you, it's like, get it yourself, do it yourself.
Oh, wow.
What is happening in the age of airlines today?
Well, that I can't, from my experience, I've had some welcoming experiences in my travels, and I had some that will leave you saying maybe that flight attendant need to check her spirit.
Her or his,
I think
right?
It all depends on the individual. Being around, like we have a team of 5 flight attendants that we work with on a annual basis.
Yeah.
As we do our workshops specifically for the Savior's Day Children's Village workshop.
Yeah.
And they go through extensive training.
Yeah.
I mean, extensive training. So, again, it's up to the individual.
That's right.
I will say the training that we receive within the Nation of Islam actually prepares you to go out and just master anything.
Come on, I know that's all right. Please let me be on a flight where any one of you all are on. I'll be so excited. And I have to also say, in fairness to, like, in a balance, right? That passengers are, passengers are a piece of work. Rude, nasty as well, and you will get what you give. We know that, right? But I just had to get that out because that was just something that made me say, So now, talk about the creation. Like, what is the timeline of the Aviation in the Nation?
Well, Aviation in the Nation started here in the city of Detroit back in 2014. Sister Celestine, the other co-founder.
Yes.
Actually, we were at a martial arts event, right? The National Training of Martial Arts event. And we were at a presentation and saw 2 brothers, FOI, who stood up and said, "We're pilots." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
No, really? He was like, "Yeah, we'll come to your city. We'll come to your city. Just give us a call. Just come. We're going to come up." So I came from one side. Sister Celestine came from another side. We met the both of them. We're like,
in the middle.
Wow. Like, our children have to meet you all. But after speaking to them, I'm like, not just my sons. I don't just want my sons to see you. Like, the city needs to see you.
Yeah.
So from that, we started, we did a 3-day program in Detroit. About 2 months after that, connected with the MUI directress of Muhammad University of Islam in Atlanta, who got us connected to a flight attendant, 2 more flight attendants, a brother Venson Muhammad who handles our ground instructing, and it just blew up. So we've been to New York, we've been to Atlanta, Arizona, Rialto, California, Detroit, Chicago. We did Chicago, Baltimore. Wow. So we've been traveling.
Wow.
We've been traveling.
Praise be to Allah. I think it's wonderful. Shout out to Brother Jamal Muhammad. I don't know where Brother Jamal lives now. I don't know where he lives now. Not that I would say, but I remember when he was actually registered, like attending here, Mosque number 27. Very, very young believer that he was studying and was flying, and I was just so impressed by that. Like, wow, this is Sarita Wright Muhammad's son, and so it was very inspirational. And so to be able to see him piloting now, and not just piloting, but doing what he can to inspire and introduce the field to young people is really great. All of you, really great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And may I add that Brother Jamal is a captain's captain.
Come on
He's not
now.
only a captain, he's a captain at an airline as well. So we call him Captain.
Captain. I mean, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the time goes so fast, but he was on that journey and has achieved it, you know. That's really commendable. Now, what can the students and parents, what can people expect at the workshop this year in LA?
Wow. Okay. The good part.
And I don't know, we got to get I'm going to find out did Brother Venson give up? Let me text him right now.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Sister Kai, I got it.
So the workshop in LA, you can expect a dynamic performance for presentations from our aviation professionals. You're going to see a day in the life of a flight attendant. And what will be so unique about this, like we have flight attendants that know how to make bean soup, understand the science.
That's right. Yeah.
We have pilots who understand the mission and the importance of pushing the final call. I need to preface that. So when we come before your children, we're not just coming in to just share something with them and host of them. We're making a connection to what it is that we say we believe, what we live, and we're presenting this to your children as an option.
Yeah.
As an option. And so often, most times, our children just are not exposed to the things that come natural.
Yeah.
To them.
Wow.
So we're going to have a workshop. They'll see a day in the life of a flight attendant, a day in the life of a pilot. And the icing on the cake is we have two young individuals who are in college now studying to become pilots. They actually are already working in the field and training, teaching and training in their areas.
Yeah.
Young men and young women to fly via flight simulation.
Yeah.
And then we're going to cap the event off with a flight.
Oh, my God.
Your children they will take flight with us.
Yeah.
They will take flight.
I'm coming.
We have a lot in store for them, but most of all, we want to give them an experience and let them know that there are options and there is training available for them in their area. I will say when we started this, I was like, I don't know, I may not want to fly. Maybe I like setting up things. My background, I have a background in education as well. But my two children are flight students now.
Yeah.
I've actually
wonderful.
Went up and flown, with other pilots myself.
Yeah.
Just to have that experience. So
wow.
It's not just for the youth. It's not just for young people.
Yeah.
This is for adults who you may not have found your way just yet, not sure what you want to do.
That's right.
Come check it out.
Yeah.
Let's give you some more options.
Oh, my gosh. Let's give them the address and information. And I did text Brother Venson, everyone, and let him know that we couldn't hear him. So hopefully we can, come on, Brother Venson, check it out. I'm going to hear from you. So let's talk about the address, where the workshop will be and more details for people who want to participate. And if it's if there's still enough time to register or if that window is closed.
Yes, we'll have some time for on-site registration, but we still do have registration available for you all. The only stipulation is I have already ordered our T-shirts for the program, so I'll just have to ship the shirts back to you.
Okay.
If you choose to register at this
time. Oh, my God, I registered my son. I want a shirt. I need a shirt. I need a shirt in my life.
Come on.
Oh, don't be screaming, Brother Vince.
She needs a shirt in her life.
Yes, sir. I'm telling you, don't come here without a shirt from me. Brother Vincent, I need to see you, though. Well, there you go. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for trying.
Praise
I know
be.
I couldn't figure it out, so thank you for
okay. Thank you. Well, we'll have Sister Kai finish her point about the location and the registration, and we're going to come right to you, and, we're going to have the trialogue, not the dialogue. Go ahead, Sister Kai.
Okay, so we'll be at Muhammad University of Islam at 8936 South Western Avenue in Los Angeles, California. Brother Salih, I must say, Brother Salih, I want to thank him for just having the desire to bring us out. And we have a team of Aviation and Nation planners there. Sister Ayana, Sister Harmony, Sister Valerie.
That's right.
And I know we did reach out to you too, as well, Sister Charlene. So we appreciate just having the desire to bring this, Everything is appreciated. And
Yeah.
we want to be found putting a smile
That's
on
right.
the face of the man of God.
That's right. And the children, I mean, I've gone to one of the local air sites where you all will be. And as a homeschooler, when I homeschooled, we utilize that place often, and it'll be good. It's a great resource. But thank you for that. There's still time to register, everybody. The registration fee is $40, right? Still $40?
Yes, ma'am.
$40. Well, and how can people shoot that in? Let's just give that right now.
Oh, via PayPal at Aviation in the Nation. There is a link on our Facebook page at Aviation in the Nation as well for the online registration form. And you can also shoot me an email at aviationinthenation@gmail.com, and I will reply to you promptly to get you the document that's needed.
Okay, I just put it on the Facebook page. Thank you so much. Let's have Brother Venson join us in. Now, Brother Venson, what do you do by trade with Aviation in the Nation? What's your aviation field?
So I'm a ground instructor. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. We absolutely can. Thank you.
So I'm a ground instructor with Aviation in the Nation, which means I teach in the classroom. So back in the day, once upon a time, I did fly. I have a pilot certification as well. Recently, I obtained a drone pilot certification. As my son Hassan, he in his drone pilot certification. So the brothers that Sister Kai was speaking of,
right?
And Hassan, he started flying at 16,
and
Sharif started at 18, and they're both they're going to be there with us. But so one thing that we do is we take our expertise. So we have flight simulators. Typically, we'll have the flight simulator set up where the children are in front of the computers with the controls, and they get the experience of what it's like to fly. Just like a pilot in a simulator.
Right.
But we all added to that virtual reality. So we're taught to stay on the edge of technology, to put our modern mathematical theology to work. So we kind of try to put our modern scientific theology to work, so that we have a virtual reality computer, and the children actually get the exposure and the feel of what it's like to be in the cockpit of a plane.
Wow.
And it's very realistic.
Not
and
just
again,
peeking by.
recently we added the drones to our fleet. So we want to expose our young people to that, because these are doorways into the aviation industry.
Thank you. And people, I think, sister, we'll get you back, Sister Kai, if you happen to be watching online. When we think of drone surveillance, a lot of times, because the intro for a lot of people was seeing drones used for surveillance, or in different wars and different things like that. But it can be used for a lot, right? Like monitoring crops, or going into different places and looking at things that need to be checked out that we can't readily see, right, Brother Venson?
Yes, that is correct. And so, again, the messenger said to us to do for self or suffer the consequences. And so what we try to do, we've taken the drone. So we've gone to some of our local churches. We actually provide security around our mosque with our drones.
Ooh,
so
we
literally fly over the mosque. There's woods near. We look in the woods. It has infrared. So in the evening time, we're flying over, just monitoring and making sure that the believers are safe. And we've taken this model out to our community, to some of the local churches, which have had attacks at their churches during their services. And we've offered them to provide this kind of security as another layer to their systems. So there are just multiple ways that we can use drones. They've approved recently, federal UPS are delivering packages now, and also Amazon. So there's just a new frontier that we can take and start our own businesses in doing these things using drones.
Wow, that is phenomenal. Now, talk about what's the time frame of study to let's for each field. I mean, for each position. So for a pilot, or for a flight attendant, or for a drone specialist, talk about the education time span.
Yes. So one thing, and I always try to sit down with the students and give them an idea or a timeline. So if you said, especially if it's a college program, if it's a college program, which, even as a drone pilot, you don't necessarily have to take a college course. You could, and piloting also, you don't necessarily have to take college courses. So there are ways that you could go to a flight instructor. That flight instructor check you out. It's called a checkout. The flight instructor checks you out to determine that you have the knowledge to exercise the ability to perform.
Yeah.
So you can go that route. Now, if it's a college student, which we kind of recommend because especially if these students are trying to get some experience flying with airline. So typically they require college degrees. So, but most aviation programs are 2-year programs.
Wow.
You can go with piloting programs. You can fly and complete your flight training in 2 years. But then, you'll have the bachelor's degree because the airlines require bachelor's degree. So you'll have to take these other core courses, but you can finish a lot of times aviation courses are programmed within 2 years.
That is amazing. And Sister Kai is back with us. That's amazing because, this is something you have hundreds of people's lives in your hand.
Yeah. Yes.
And I thought about when Sister Kai was talking about the importance of aviation in our communities and from within, not just our Black community, but the Nation of Islam, right? What I think about is the integrity and the righteousness that we should have, right? So when we were looking at and hearing stories, I haven't read or heard about too many recently, but when we were hearing stories, pilot after pilot, drunk, high on cocaine, right? And then, of course, we saw the movie come out and they had our great brother Denzel play that part with the pilot that was accused of misconduct. But we don't have to worry about that. That's something that we will not have to, worry about. Because I pray, Lord, please don't let this be a drunk pilot. First of all, I put it in Allah's hands.
Yeah.
Let it take off and land safely. But I still, add to that, Lord, don't let this be a drunk or high pilot.
That's right.
And then
yes, ma'am. And I think one thing,
our passenger.
Back in the day, they used to have these programs, and I did a lot of flying in Florida, South Florida.
Right.
They used to have these programs, especially in Broward County, Fort Lauderdale area, where you could go to these courses, and these were accelerated courses. Within 14 months, you had every certification, and you were guaranteed a job as a co-pilot.
Wow.
But so many of those pilots were having accidents. A lot of major accidents were attributed to that type of training. So that was a standard that was shut down in the industry. So now, there are some ways that students can get into, have shorter hours, but typically it's about 1,500 hours before you're in a plane commercially flying a lot of passengers.
Man, that's amazing. Do you think, or do you know, I thought that might have something to do with maybe just having the crop dust. Was that about crop dusting, brother?
Why? I actually grew up in a farming community where some crop dusters, lots of crop dusting occurred. Right. Now that's, to be honest, that industry of crop dusting is a dynamic industry because those pilots have to do maneuvers, special maneuvers as they're working those fields and spraying them. So, but we're doing some drone stuff that can do crop dusting as well. So that's the modern technology again. Unmanned aircraft systems.
Wow.
So actually be on the ground a mile or so away from the field spraying it.
That is amazing. Yes, absolutely. And then one day we'll have this non-toxic kind of thing for humans. But until then, and you're right, that is a very great health aspect. Sister Kai, I want you to take me to the life of and I know you're, I don't think did you say you were a flight attendant?
I am not.
Got it. I was hoping Sister Celestine was on, but you all probably know this from the presentations. Both of you may know this. I wonder, about flight. You said it, Sister Kai. The training is extensive for flight attendants, but I'm talking as in terms of an MGT, right? How is the scheduling, if either of you know, for flight attendants, right? If they go, they go in. Is it how many flights do they have to take a day? Even for pilots, for that matter. Let's just talk about the professionals in the air. How many flights are they required to take per day?
Well, I'm not certain for the flight attendants. What I can speak to is the training. There is a 30-day long training, an intensive 30-day training, which is really pass or fail. After that 30 days, they will allow you to retrain, but it's really pass or fail. And I believe they can. I think it's within 48 hours. If they get like 3 days, they have to, have a 48-hour rest, I believe. But I can't really speak to that.
Wow.
And Brother Venson can probably share with us the pilot's recommendation.
Right. From the pilot's perspective, and just from hearing from Brother Donald and Brother Jamal, it's a lot like, really see it kind of like the trucking industry, where truckers have so many hours that they can drive, and then you have to have so many hours off. And so there's also long haul pilots, like Brother Donald was flying overseas, long flights, where you would fly overseas and then you'd have to take a day off or so. And then, you get on another flight coming back. So it's, and Brother Jamal, from where he was working from Phoenix, it's kind of like, a regional flying, where he could be, in other words, he may go and may stay a day, but he's right back home.
Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
What I was asking, I always say these shows are for me. I hope the viewers benefit, but no. And on a serious note, I always, as soon as I joined the nation, started working for the paper, I'm like, how can I get to this place? How can I get my pumps on the ground right now today? And I very often would consider that, but then I would think, well, you can get there, but then how are you going to write about what you have to do? It just wasn't, I don't think it was something, but I got to be honest, I was looking at flight privileges. That's not a good motive to become an attendant, right? We're taught by the minister, our motive determines our success.
So this is what, and I'll say this, I was in college in Miami, in flight school back in the day in the 90s, and I had the privilege of meeting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And what he said to me was, continue aviation. We're going to have planes again in the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
And that stuck with me, even as I was not flying anymore.
Right.
I had to really do some soul searching and think it through.
Yeah.
He said, continue.
That's right.
He didn't say, me fly, me do whatever. And so I started teaching.
That's right.
I started teaching young people, and I never stopped.
Thank God. Thank God. Thank Allah for all of you, because you're right. Sometimes it's literal because we're thinking about us. I do that very often to the chagrin of many who relate to me. I know I just drive them crazy, but you're right. Continue it on. And look, all we need is a plane right now, right? I would like to appeal to myself and to the Nation of Islam and to those who love Farrakhan. Let's get this campaign going to get our minister a flight, a jet, a plane, whatever he needs. We got the pilots.
Yes, ma'am.
So all we got to do is put the plane there. Let's do it. So can you see it? Mother Khadijah, the whole family, the whole delegation, the ET, whatever he needs for where they got to go. We just got it.
That's right.
Starting pressing on the plane. Oh, my God. I can see it. It's coming. Yeah. Let's raise the money up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And then we have to have this made, right? We don't, we do want to get the best of what this world has to offer, but that's not the best for the man. So we got to have it made, right? So now, Brother Venson, we need these mechanics. I saw the drones you got there.
Yes, ma'am. Mechanics. So I just wanted to send it to you to show you that with that drone technology, it's one of the better drones that's flying today. So we're exposing our young people to that. But you're correct. We do here in Atlanta. We have some brothers that's in mechanic, 2 brothers here that's in mechanic school.
Right.
So Sister Kai, I don't think I even told you that I've been training Brother Doyle, who's a mechanic out in Dallas. I've been training his son as a drone pilot.
Come on. Wow. There is so
Yes.
much. I think that's going to really take off more because just as how we see STEM, right? The STEM programs, the STEM and STEAM programs that are very, very heightened, especially for girls. They are for all the youth, all the children, but I know that there's an under count, right, in terms of girls in engineering and in STEAM. But this is something that really appeals to our children as well. You know,
Yes.
there's NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers, has a summer program that they go around the country with the STEM program, and to see the children literally making these battery operated cars, these fuel efficient cars, and different things like that. These little things that fly, these aerial things, right? It's really great. What you're doing is great. Look at that. Thank you, Sister Felicia. I just said, oh my God, we have the best engineer in the world. Look at this. So this is, what are we looking at? We're looking at a drone. Is that the drone control? And what is that, an iPad or something? Well, tell us what that is, Brother Venson.
Oh, yes, ma'am. So for me, let's say this. So that controller there.
Okay, at the bottom left.
Typically, you can, the controller there, you can insert your phone into it, and you can see what the drone's doing because the drone has a camera on it. Now, for me, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, so I had to go and get an iPad. It's bigger. I get a bigger view, a larger picture of things, and it's just amazing. So as I spoke with you, and I told you that we actually fly security with the drone over our mosque, I can actually in real time send information to the captain or the first officer of events that's occurring outside the mosque. You know, if it's some vagrancy, or we've seen people in moving merchandise, different things, and we can kind of have a response to it. So that drone, it's pretty quiet, up about 100 feet. You can't even hear it overhead.
Wow, you can get the drone parents if you told your children, don't let nobody in this house. Don't have any company in my house.
They used to call them helicopter parents, so now we're drone parents, right?
Oh my gosh! You know, the first time go ahead, Sister Kai. Yes, ma'am.
I think we all, Brother Venson, you're giving us great joy.
Yeah.
When I use the term life from the aerial view, I enjoy life.
Yes.
From the aerial view, you know, you get to see a broader spectrum.
Yeah.
When you're looking at things from an aerial perspective.
That's absolutely right. That's right. Oh my God, I wanted to share something about the drones. I had been familiar with them, but I hadn't really seen one in action the way I saw the first one that I did witness with the peace rides, the Southern California peace rides here, created by Brother Student Minister Abdul Malik Saeed. And when I was looking at, we would look and people, we had, like bikers, our so-called gangbangers, just like the hood, like the streets were there. And it's like, what is that? What is that? And it was riding just like alone. It was great because it's shots that we could never get above and riding with them through Crenshaw, through Inglewood, through Compton, through Watts. And when we were looking at the photographs that were taken, it was just phenomenal. Like the miles long, and so that's when I said, this drone technology is for many, many, many things,
Yes.
Many things.
Yes. Exactly.
So, now, what's the next city after LA? Because I know, I would gather we're clamoring for you all.
Yes, ma'am. So after LA, we're going to take our brief break and prepare for Savior's Day.
Oh,
for the last 3 years, we have been blessed. And when I say blessed, we've been blessed to work with Mother Khadijah Farrakhan with the children every
Village.
year at Savior's Day.
Ooh, let me get a
so
phone.
Last year, we had the drones at Children's Village. The year before that, we did flight sims. The flight simulations is a staple that we take with us. We also present. We even had like a Lego sit and build where the children were able to construct,
sit and build
from Lego. So we're working with the engineering part of that. And you mentioned STEAM and STEM earlier. These programs that we offer, these workshop/learn shops, are really great for building cognitive ability of our children.
Yeah.
You know, most times, and sometimes as mothers, we're like, oh, no, my baby can't build a plane.
Yeah.
No, that's too much. It's too much. It's just too much. No, when I say we had to sit and build, we had more parents sitting at the table playing with the Legos than the children were.
I'll be right there. I'll tell you the truth. Go ahead,
Brother Venson, bear me witness. There was more parents at the table with the Legos than the children were.
Yeah.
But exposing the children to this, and at children's village, we're able to get us in the masses.
Yeah.
You know, the children were just running around having a good time, like, oh, what? This does what? I can do what?
Yeah.
It's role playing. And then some of the simulators, they're able to determine where they want to take off from and where they want to land.
Wow.
So even if you're in Chicago, you just took off from Chicago O'Hare and landed at LAX in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without moving your seat. Yeah,
Wow.
without moving your seat.
Wow. And we're in that day. You know, restriction is getting, movement is getting more restricted, is getting more difficult. I think like right now we're getting ready to have the real ID in California where you're going to need either that. I think temporarily you can travel with your passport. Pardon me, the deadline is coming up. I need to be responsible and give you that since I'm mentioning it, and I will. But yeah, you know, how are we going to experience things? And so the advent of this technology is great, and it can be used for great things, very great things. So
yes,
Savior's Day is coming up. What, as we get ready to close soon, about another 4 minutes or so, but what has been the most rewarding part of what you both do with Aviation in the Nation? What gives you the most joy?
Sister Kai, you want to go?
Yes, sir. As a mother, as a registered member of MGT in the Nation of Islam, it gives me great joy to know that we have a hand in planting the seeds of our next generation.
Yeah.
There has been nothing made more important to me or potent to me than us training our replacement.
Yeah.
Does it mean, Sister Kai, that I'm just going to go and sit down? No, that's not what that means.
That's right.
It means that I have the ability to plant just a small seed in a child who may or may not go that way.
Yeah.
But because I have that opportunity, I'm going to take full advantage of it
Yeah.
each and every time it comes before me. So
yeah.
knowing that we, by the grace of Allah, have a chance to guide our future. And when I say guide, navigational right here.
That's
with
right.
The aviation piece, right?
Yeah.
So that they can go out and see the 194 million square miles of this earth. Like, don't just stay in your city. You can move, and aviation is a way that can get us around the world. So
that's right.
It's helping the babies, moving them forward, and know that I learn just as much from each and every child that I'm blessed to, experience. I learn just as much from that child as they learn from me.
I feel that, sis. I feel that in my spirit. And, as you talk about training our replacement, and we're coming to you, Brother Venson, but we're duty bound. Like, how selfish, right, could we be to have any skill, gift, talent, or be trained in anything, and then we let it stop with us? I think that's rotten, and that's not the way we're taught anyway.
Right.
We're not taught that anyway, but I just think that we really have to, quicken the pace, do that.
Yes.
Do that. Yes, sir, Brother Venson.
Well, it's amazing you say that because, we're taught to train our young men from the FOI, train them up fast and make brave fighters of them.
That's right.
And so I tell you, so what I try to do, and I'm so thankful for the privilege of having something to do. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad say the worst thing you can do, especially with a black man, is to wake him up and have nothing for him to do.
Wow.
You see, and so I'm so honored that I can find people, especially when they just walk in the door, and some of them might have interest. Like there was a brother here that had a drone, and he was doing all kinds of things, not following the regulations, flying way up 19,000 feet, doing these different things. And I had to reel him in and say, brother, the law is this, and if your drone has a registration, and if something happens, this could happen? You know, and the brother was like, I never thought of that.
Right.
You know, so just to be able to be a part of educating someone from our community,
That's right.
and helping them to do this and get to the next level,
Yeah.
it's an honor and a pleasure.
That's
It
right.
is.
Yeah. Praise be to Allah. Sounds very exciting, and it's different, you know, and it puts us in a position to not continue to be consumers.
Yes.
I mean, you know, like right now, we just got to call. I just got to call Spirit. I got to do it. But one day, we'll be able to call Aviation Airline. I don't know what y'all going to call it. What we're going to call
Come on.
it. But
Nation Airline.
Nation
Come on.
Airline. I mean,
Air.
look, I just want to get this jet. Let's get this man this jet so he can jet.
Listen.
Wow, I'm having all these thoughts in the front of people. It's in the public, but I was like, he got a wheel. It's all right.
Yeah.
Who needs
Come
a
on.
jet when you got a wheel?
Well, we need to enter into international trade and commerce, so we're still here, so we still got work to do.
I'm back. Yes, sir, brother. I'm back, y'all. Woo. Okay, the real ID, I want to mention that because I did when we were talking about being able to move and restrictions and different changes in the law. But the real ID for California, you're going to need to have different security checks on your driver's license, so it's federally compliant. It's you're able to use this new license to board domestic flights, and the deadline is October 1st, 2020, it appears. But the website is realid.dmv.ca.gov. Enough of that. I mentioned it, so I wanted to be responsible. But is there anything you all would like to add before we close? We're getting out of here.
Okay, Sister
Yes,
Kai, you know we're always going to let the sisters go first.
Oh, and I forgot. I'm sorry, Sister Kai, I forgot. I don't know. One second. Are we able to show any of the mother? I threw something on the engineer, so I got to be fair to her. Got it. We won't. Next time, I'll bring some pictures to show Mother Khadijah's Children's Village, which saved my life as a mom. I mean, for final call assignments for Savior's Day, I'd say don't even look at the Children's Village. That's where we're going. Or y'all can come with me. But the editor-in-chief was so gracious. He allowed me to cover all that time, you know, and I think it still happens that way. You know, we just make way for each other in the nation. But go ahead, Sister Kai. Go ahead, Sister Kai.
I will leave us with this, that we should continue to move forward and push the mission that which we know we all signed up for, so that we can have the hereafter, here and now.
Yeah.
You know, we need to see it. We have to make it a reality. I'll leave us with that. Isolation.
Oh, walaikum salam. Yes, ma'am. Wait, Brother Venson, I got to tell you before you go. Brother Kenny Muhammad, the human being. Brother Kenny, you are so crazy. Brother Kenny Muhammad said, can we deliver bean pies with the drum?
Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. Let's incorporate it. Yes, sir.
Yes. Let Brother Yassine know, our little Brother Yassine Farrakhan know that Brother Kenny had a great idea. who Brother Yassine, another spearheading the pies going across the nation, the supreme bean pie. El Kamar Muhammad said, do they recommend the Microsoft Flight Simulator? I don't know.
That's a good program, Microsoft Flight Simulator. We have that one on the Oculus virtual reality computer. So Microsoft is a good flight simulator.
Wonderful. Now, Brother Kenny did say sincerely in bold, how can I help aviation in the nation? So we'll patch that in. Brother Kenny, he laughed. Brother Kenny, you are crazy. Brother Kenny wants to know how he can help. So Kenny Muhammad, he's on the thread, so we can, you all reach out,
Yes, Brother Kenny Muhammad. Please send us a friend request if you're our friend on Facebook, or just send us an email and we can communicate.
That's right. That's right. Check it out. Okay, Brother Venson, I think
what we'd like to do is we really like to move as a team. So we'll assess all the needs.
That's right.
And we can get a list to you, Brother Kenny.
No, that's right. We're in the ranks. We know how we do. So, Brother Venson, I had interrupted you, but go ahead. Your closing remarks. We're going to get out of here.
So, yes, in closing, only 2% of the aviation industry is African American or black people. Okay, only 2%. So I like to tell my students, well, that means that there are 98% of the seats that need to be taken should be taken by you then, since we're only represented as 2%. And so what I'd like to do is, and I'm privileged and honored to be able to take what we have. I'm literally there's a sister that contacted me. She said that, well, Agnes Scott College, there's a women's meeting there, women in agriculture. Can you do a presentation on drones in agriculture?
Yeah.
Then there's a brother in a city here
Yeah.
that says there's a radio personality that started a mentor group, and he told them about the program that we're doing. Can you come here? And I'm literally having to push them back and say, look, we're going to Los Angeles. I need to prepare for this. Can I talk to you when I get back? And
That's
they're like,
right.
well, please just make sure. And so what I'm saying is there are so many opportunities for once we qualify ourselves for positions that are awaiting us.
Yes.
The people will come. So we have to take what we have out
right.
to our community and make our communities safe and safer and decent, more decent places to live.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. And that is wonderful. And hey, look, as we're getting ready for Minister Ava Muhammad just came off the Project Separation Town Hall meeting in Coldwater, Mississippi. Inshallah, she's going to be here speaking to the Black Student Union for the 40th Black Consciousness Conference here at Cal State Long Beach. You know, we need this because, Allah will make you separate is what she has said, and which we've heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say. Allah will make you separate, make us separate. So we're going to separate. We can't say, well, we're going to separate, but then we're going to come get, we need everything still. We certainly will be doing international or national trade, but for the most part, we got to get self-sufficiency going.
That's right.
Yeah. So thank you both so much. Very short notice. But I had to remember I had a show today. Sister Kai. Thank you so much, sister. Thank you so much, brother. Praise be to Allah. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad saying if it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.